Okay. So just going to call the meeting to order for Emergency Services Committee meeting for July 20th, 2026. And this meeting is over. Moved by Donna, second by Sean. Let the meeting be open at 6:00 p.m. All in favor? Here. And then just the adoption of the agenda. So I need a mover and second. Looking at Jason, get everybody involved in it. All right, so moved by Jason, second by Sean, that the agenda for the Emergency Services Committee meeting for July 20th, 2026 has be approved as circulated. All in favor? It's carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interests? So then the adoption of the previous minutes. So I need a mover and second. So moved by Sean, second by Donna, that the minutes for the Emergency Services Committee meeting held May 25th, 2026 be adopted as circulated. All in favor? And the presentations or delegations. Staff reports. So 6A is the report from the fire chief regarding operations, training, and community involvement.
Right, good evening, everybody. This is my report dated July 20th, 2026, and it covers the period from May 22nd, 2026 to July 16th, July 18th, 2026. Purpose of this report is to keep the committee and council and public informed on fire service activities. For under operations, we have 20 operational volunteer firefighters right now. In that time frame, we responded to 14 calls for service, 4 medicals, 3 structure fires, 2 brush fires, 1 vehicle fire, 2 hydro-pole fires, and 2 wires down calls. As of to date, this report, we have 35 calls to service for the 2026 calendar year. Under our firefighting training report, the purpose of this training is to enhance the operational readiness, ensure all personnel are proficient in the use of firefighting equipment, and maintain compliance with safety standards through regular inspection and maintenance. For our training review, we typically do practical and theoretical training. So what we do is first we do theoretical, and then we put the theoretical into practice. Our duration is anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, depending on the topic. And we have an average of 17 to 20 firefighters come out every Monday night. Our key focus areas are, we always have SCBA comfortability and air management drills. So we always go through the firefighters, whether it be probationary or you're a senior firefighter. I want to see that they feel comfortable with the SCBA on, includes the mask and their air breathing management drills. So that way, when they do have to wear an SCBA under the IDLH conditions, which is immediate dangerous to life and health conditions, that the firefighters know how to breathe properly, so they're not exhausting their tank prior to the operation or to the task being performed. Because the majority of our calls are medicals, we do medical assessment and scenarios at least once a month. I've done the training plan or training manual, so it's at least once a month now we're doing medical scenarios. We do the accountability tag, so that is for our firefighter safety, is that we make sure that the firefighters tag in and tag out whenever they enter the hot zone. We got our new digital radios that were in place back in March, April. Again, we're always working on them, make sure the firefighters are very comfortable with using the radios and that proper radio transmission language are used. We always do our equipment checks and maintenance protocols, make sure our equipment is meeting our safety standards, that is up to our standards and our needs. For our equipment checks during this session, all firefighting equipment underwent a thorough inspection to ensure operational reliability, which includes our PPE, so our bunker gear, which is our jacket, our pants, suspenders, boots, gloves, our helmet, SCBA mask, that it's all up to par. I just did a PPE equipment inspection list that I'm hoping to implement in the next couple of weeks. With our SCBA, we're verifying the cylinder air pressure, make sure that it is full, that the mask seal integrity, that we're not leaking air anywhere. And that goes to with our mask fit test. We do that once a year where the firefighters get tested for their mask fit, make sure that they have a proper seal, so they have the proper mask for the firefighter. Our hoses and nozzles, so we inspect them for leaks, cracks, and coupling damage that's on the trucks. We just had our ladders inspected, our yearly inspection for ladders. We just had that done last week. And it passed. So they're all good to go. Again, during the year, we're still checking those ladders for the structural integrity. So we have a little heat sensor on the ladder. If that changes color, it tells me that that ladder has been exposed to high heat. It needs to be taken out of service and inspected and tested prior to putting back in service. And we make sure that the ladders are clean. And for our communication devices, we test our radios every Monday night every night at 6 o'clock. We get a pager test and test our radios, make sure that they are operational. For our maintenance activities, again, we refill the SCBAs if we've used them back to full capacity, and we update our maintenance logs for all service equipment every Monday night. For the outcomes, we ensure that all equipment confirmed operational and compliant with NFPA standards, that the firefighters have demonstrated improved familiarity with inspection and maintenance protocols, that we have maintenance records updated for accountability and future reference, and all firefighters, including probationary and junior firefighters, show competency in all tasks. For our recommendations, we continue our weekly equipment inspections, and we are scheduled monthly refresher training on equipment handling. For this reporting period, our special training, we did move some equipment, make room for our gear washer has now been installed and is now operational. I put it through a test run and there's no leaks. So it is working as prescribed. Firefighters then practice their medical skills through different scenarios. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And then we do medical scenarios either through Captain Mason or through the training officer, or through myself, that will run through at least once a month our medical different scenarios. That they did a special, not special, but they did a search and rescue exercise that they faced different scenarios and enhanced their skills on what to do in the search and rescue through zero visibility conditions. Make sure that they're familiar with the layout of the building that they're going into. So around here, we have single detached dwellings. So we focus on, where is the bedroom? Where is the kitchen? Where is the living room? Where is most people going to congregate? Where we're going to find them? We did do the SP 103 bar land firefighting theory, and we prepared for a practical portion, which we did with the NMR the week after. So we did the theoretical 1 week, and the following week we did the practical with the MNR. We did our annual mask fit testing that assures the SCBA mask that the firefighters have is compliant and that it fits their mask according to NFPA 1981 standards for SCBA mask testing. Well, when we did the wildland firefighting provided by the MNR that was there, that was excellent training. Like I was there and every firefighter really enjoyed that training. So now we have a general understanding on if we're to assist the MNR, what their expectations are, what we can do to assist them. What we did is that we worked in teams of 3 to 4 and learned how to advance a hose line, add additional hose lengths while the hose line is charged, and apply different firefighting techniques and start to and how to start a portable pump and how to use that portable pump to move water for the forest firefighting and to diagnose any potential issues with the pump, water supply, and hose lines. So if we lose water pressure, why do we lose it? What's the issue? Follow the hose line back. Is it back to the portable pump or is the hose line itself kinked? Did we lose pressure? Are we out of water? So we did 3 or 4 different scenarios that night with the MNR. It was really good training. The firefighters participated in operational readiness with consistency of apparatus placement at a scene. So I've been working with them on where to place apparatus at any type of call for optimal, not only operational, but for safety as well. And also how to use the radio communication, the proper language, and the designation of the sides of the building. So you get Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. So I've explained to my firefighters that as the IC, which is as commander, when I arrive on scene, I'm going to say I want a team on the Charlie side of the building. They got to know where to go on the building. When I say I want you on the Charlie side, or I want you on the Delta side. So that way they know when I tell them this is where I want you to go, they know exactly where to go in the building or where go outside the building. We practiced different scenarios of application of water, hose streams, and reloading pump rolls. We did that last Monday. And this Monday tonight, we're doing drafting the dam. So we need portable pumps, drafting. And then right now, some of the firefighters are actively taking self-paced educational course related to the NFPA certifications. From my updates, we always have ongoing training with the new recruits and firefighters and junior firefighters. The fire chief and the entire Bonfield Fire Department congratulates Cecilia Bird on her confirmation from council. Celia is now holds the rank of probationary firefighter. Congratulations, Celia, to the team. The fire chief and the entire Bonfield Fire Department congratulates firefighter Justin Haywen on being selected as the volunteer firefighter of the month for May. Since joining the Bonfield Fire Department in April 2025, Justin has worked very hard in obtaining his firefighter 1 and 2 certifications. Justin was just elected president of the Bonfield Firefighters Association in May of 2026. Justin brings an electrifying energy to the team. Congratulations, Justin. Fire chief and the entire Bonfield Fire Department congratulate firefighter Liam McNeil on being selected as the volunteer firefighter month for June. Since joining the Bonfield Fire Department in October of 2023, Liam has worked very hard in obtaining his firefighter 1 and 2 certifications. Liam's calm demeanor and logical approach to situations are characteristics of a future leader in the fire service. Liam always assists the probationary and junior firefighters in any task and sets these firefighters up for success. Congratulations, Liam. Fire chief recommends the hiring of Nolan Monette to the rank of probationary firefighter. Nolan was one of our junior firefighters, and now he just turned 18 a week and a half ago. So that's why I recommend that he now becomes a probationary firefighter. The fire chief updated the points enumeration system. A report was presented to this committee and with the council for adoption. Council did adopt the updated points enumeration report. Following that report, the fire chief and the CAO held a meeting with the firefighters to discuss the new points system. Concerns were raised by the firefighters, which were acknowledged by the fire chief and CAO. The fire chief will compile data over the next 12 months to determine any changes that may be suggested to this committee and to council. Under fire prevention, we have ongoing during any incident or call or any kind of complaint from the public. If someone calls me or emails me, then I act on it very, very quickly. We do our monthly fire prevention activities. So every month we have a theme that we do. To date, 20 smoke seal alarms have been distributed or delivered to the residents who requested them. For our community involvement, the Bonfield Firefighters Association held a car wash on June 6th at Station 1. This was once again a huge success. The Bonfield Firefighters Association would like to thank the entire community for the support. We were going to do Canada Day celebrations, but unfortunately they were canceled due to the weather. The fireworks show will be rescheduled for a moving night, which is going to be held on Labor Day. And that is my report.
So, thanks for that, Sean. Any questions from the report?
Just when you check the equipment, do you check the trucks as well?
Yes, we do. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's part.
that's part of our equipment. Yes.
What is the status of our trucks? Obviously, we know that we need a new truck moving forward. What do we have as far as equipment, just so that we're bringing that up for the public?
Yeah. So right now we have one pumper tanker that meets NFPA standards. We have a tanker, and we have a rescue truck.
And they're all still in use?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
They're all still passing like pump tests and
Yeah.
and everything.
We just did the pump test on pump 5 last week, and then actually failed the vacuum test.
Right.
So I asked the contractor to send me a quote on what it costs to get that repaired. But he reassured me that pumper, we can pump with it, we can draft with it. It's just, we won't get the certification seal saying that this truck is certified.
So while we're waiting for quotes and waiting for it to be fixed, we can still use
Yes,
it
we
if-
can.
if we need to.
Yeah, if we need to, we still use it. Yeah.
Guys, so 7B, request for a fire rating sign on Highway 531 and review other strategic locations.
Oh, you missed it.
Wait. A, receive and review the fire department establishing a retention bylaw provided by the CAO. Let's do that one.
Yours would have been much quicker, right?
It would have been.
Yes. So the team and I have been working on this for probably over a year now. It's factored in with a lot of information from the former one, the former establishment retention bylaw for the fire department is 1995. So there's been a few changes since then. So we've put these in. We had to do the 2 community risk assessment years in order to really determine what are the services and what are the uses of our fire department right now, how do we utilize them? And that gets reflected in here as well. So I think we have a lot of really good information on our current setup, our current systems. We've had some time to kind of review what works, what doesn't work. So essentially, like there's a section with, all the whereases, because the fire department is governed by many pieces of legislation. And then we have the establishment of it, so there's definitions to help better understand some of the terminology in the bylaw as well. So the department structure, I'll just start on that. I apologize, I did not number the pages, so lesson learned for me would make it easier for you guys. So essentially, council shall appoint a fire chief, who shall be the highest ranking officer for the fire department. And then the fire chief recommends to council to appoint the deputy fire chief from among the membership that he has. And then in addition to that, we have other personnel, as we've kind of gone through, fire prevention officers. Our deputy chief right now is also the fire prevention officer. So that gives us the chief, the deputy, and then there's still another spot in that organizational chart for another fire prevention officer as well. To make sure we're covered on that. Then there is our training officer, and then obviously the volunteer firefighters themselves. We'll go through that more once we get into the Schedule A, I believe. The fire department, is Schedule A. So approved services and programs are outlined in Schedule B, so they shall provide for their fire protection services and programs as approved by council. The council does that through that Schedule B section. Limited service, in considering the reliance of the fire department on a responsive volunteer firefighters whose deployment to emergencies in sufficient number cannot in all instances be guaranteed, whether it's adverse climate conditions, delays, or unavailability of specialized equipment required by the fire department, or other extraordinary circumstances which may impede the delivery of the fire protection services. Any approved service that is in Schedule B may from time to time be provided as a limited service as defined in this bylaw, so there's a definition of that. It can kind of speak to some of our medical calls during the day, like, yes, we're going to respond to medical calls, but if we don't have a volunteer that can go to respond to that medical call, then we don't respond to that medical call. So from time to time, some of those services may be limited. It may be limited if it's on a private road and the private road is not up to a condition that we can bring our equipment in, then that would be a limited service as well. And there's no liability for the township in having those limited services. They're down to our department. There's a section for responses outside the limits of the municipality, so the bylaw sets out when that can happen. If it's threatening property that's in the municipality, so it's on the boundary or border. Or something we might have a mutual assistance or an automatic agreement. I know right now that we do have mutual assistance, but we do not have automatic agreements. The fire chief responsibilities and his authority, again, he's regulated very heavy. The main one is the Fire Protection and Prevention Act and the Emergency Protections Act. I'm saying the front it's in there. So the fire chief shall report administratively to the chief, the CAO, and shall provide all operational, administrative, financial, personal, strategic, and department reports through the CAO in accordance with the township's organizational structure. And then during the emergencies and significant incidents or any other matters requiring the attention of council, the fire chief shall keep the mayor, council, and the CAO informed as appropriate regarding the nature of the incident, actions taken, and the status of the emergency. So the fire chief is an officer within the municipality and the council, and council does appoint that position. But other than an emergency, then we report to the CAO. The two main legislators were the Fire Protection and Prevention Act and the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act. Some of his duties are reporting to council as required during that emergency and establishing those acts, enforcing the bylaw and the regulations established under the bylaw, developing, establishing, and implementing policies and operational procedures, guidelines and general orders for department rules. There's a number of things that are listed in here for the fire chief, which is essentially his job description. The powers of the chief, he shall exercise all the powers and duties established by those acts, the legislation, and it's enforcement of the bylaw, so there'll be like the fire permit bylaw, if they're burning outside of those, the open air burning bylaw, who has that authority to enforce that, as well as our bylaw enforcement officer. There's a section on recovery of costs that the fire chief is responsible for, so right now, those would speak to MTO, hydro, or if there's anything in our bylaws for bylaw enforcement, then he can certainly work on that recovery of costs. I believe we just got registered in with hydro, so when the hydro lines are on fire, then we can send that cost in there, so. So volunteer firefighter membership, so the fire.
Retroactive, sorry.
No.
I know, I wish.
I've been asking for 3.5 years.
Yeah. It's done, check that off your box.
Yay.
Yes. So fire chief may
Sorry, is there an expiry date to it? Do we have to? like-
no, as long as we keep our information up to date.
Okay,
and-
okay.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, so there is a whole section on volunteer membership. We can go into that later, so I'm Schedule C. And then just normal of the other stuff. So Schedule A is the org chart, and so I'll move up a bit. Just to better reflect that there's council members, you know, and the fire chief, what he responds to both of them. You can see that there's the deputy chief and the FPO underneath that. Then there are 2 captains, in creating this new policy. It's no longer location based, as it's function based now, so there'll be a captain that will help with fleet and a captain that will help with small equipment. And then there's that additional fire prevention officer and the training officer. There are lieutenants within it, our department, and then all volunteer firefighters report up to the captains.
We have junior firefighters in
Yeah, they could go.
Where,
Firefighter,
do they report to a captain or a lieutenant? Where do you want?
they would be the same as any firefighter, they just can't just.
it. They put their helmet, but they can.
Yeah, maybe in a gray box, in a grayed out box, so that it's.
Yeah, cause I take the date they come into the fire department, I take that when they are eligible for recommendation, I backdate the date that they joined as their date.
Or.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
even if they were underage.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because they,
For senior.
that's correct, yes,
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the main bylaw?
No, it's very good. It's very detailed. It's got a lot of information. It's good.
So Schedule B is the big piece of this. It's what the services and the programs will be for the municipality. So B1 is emergency response. So 1 is the basic firefighting services and shall respond to fires, alarms of fire, and pre-fire conditions to provide fire suppression services. And shall exercise best efforts to conform to the National Fire Protection Association, which, as we all know, we had to meet as of this month. And we have, so check that box off as well. Firefighting services, so any of these services that come in, or any of the programs that we have. So firefighting services, by entering into or onto a body of water or onto ice over a body of water, shall not be provided by the fire department. So that basically means that we are a shore-based system and we will not actually go into ice or into the water. That requires another mittful of equipment and supplies, and I don't.
lots of training, it's under 1006 and NFPA 1006 for the technical rescue, so that's swift, ice, structural collapse. What else would it be? Structural collapse, so swift, ice, water, structural collapse. It's on the NFPA 1006, and if we were to offer those services, everybody have to be certified by this time next year.
I thought we did some training, some people did some training.
Yeah, so last year they
Yeah.
did these, I believe it was the swift water. 2 years, yeah.
I don't remember if it was awareness or operational. So there, in training, there's an awareness level, there's an operational, and there's a technical.
Yeah.
Yes, so.
And for liability purposes, we do not do any of the water.
Water-based
piece.
Yeah, we just do awareness and operation would be classified as work short base. We have the PFD on, so personal flotation device on. We throw the rope bag to them. That's operation. That's we go technical. Then that's when you're looking into the wetsuits, helmets, and then the specific
Boats.
training boats. Yeah, so.
Did you have questions, Jason? Really looked like you wanted to say something.
So if we need those services, who do we,
If we did, we'd have to call North Bay. They're the only department in this area that offers that.
Would that new Ontario Core not be an option too? I guess it depends on how big the emergency
That's
is.
right,
yeah.
right?
That's
So,
right.
to activate.
There are specialized support groups that we
Yeah.
can call on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they come in.
and outside of North Bay?
Then you're probably looking at Sudbury. And if you go down south, you're most likely maybe Barrie.
So they'd be like a specialized team like
Yeah.
Hussar
That's
was as
correct,
well,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
So, and I think Hussar is, there's only 2 in the whole
Yeah.
province, so,
Yeah, there's Toronto and Sudbury.
yeah,
There's only 2 in the province.
So it's 20 minutes for our
yeah.
Yeah,
Safety.
yeah.
So then, again, under emergency response, B 1.2 is the rural firefighting operations. So rural firefighting operations using tanker shell service shall be provided because we are not a township with municipal water supplies and we use the tanker supply.
So that's all in like a ranking, right? Like this is criteria that you go through that what you have and what
Yes.
you're capable of doing, so.
Yeah, within the capacity of the township. I guess.
Yes.
So B3 is the structural firefighting services, and this is broken down further into 3.
Right.
So there's the interior search and rescue, which is A, so that's the service shall be provided to search for and rescue endangered, trapped, or potentially trapped persons within the structure. Then there's the criteria of when that can occur, because there are requirements for the number of people, incident command can be the one that's making the judgment call on here. The B is the interior fire suppression, so that's the service shall be provided to contain the fire and prevent further loss of property. Again, there's criteria for when that can be activated, because both of those are only when possible and as appropriate. And then the C is the exterior fire suppression, so this is more of a defensive operation, but it shall be provided when possible and as appropriate. The service shall be provided to prevent fire spread to adjacent areas, because it's from the exterior. Provided when the interior fire suppression is not possible or appropriate, and then, of course, as the water supply comes. 1.4 is the vehicle firefighting services. 1.5 is the grass, brush, and forestry firefighting services. The marine firefighting services or marine firefighting services shall be limited to shore-based defensive firefighting operations only. Automatic aid response services or service call shall be provided in accordance with any automatic aid agreement approved by council. So we don't have them right now, but if history repeats itself and this is a long-lasting bylaw, then there's provisions in there so that we can enter into automatic aid agreements if that becomes a regional desire.
And automatic aid and mutual aid are both contract based, right? They are signed agreement.
Yeah, they're signed, yes. Mhm. And then, so the next one is the mutual aid, which we do have. And then there's a tiered medical assistance services, so these are with, and this is also a contract that we have. And then the service shall be provided in accordance with the emergency medical tiered response agreement. We just renewed it last year.
And under number D, I just emailed the chief of paramedics to get him to put different language in for motor vehicle. The way it's written right now is that when information provided by the caller saying that there is a need for a possible need, I've now changed that the fire department shall go to all motor vehicle access, which include not limited to cars, trucks, vans, snowmobiles, ATVs. So that way, any kind of MVC, we are gonna go. I've been getting reports that there have been accidents in our response area and we have not been notified, so.
Are we the first, like, just for the medical components?
For everything.
So we wouldn't go for a fender bender?
Oh, only if there
But-
was, depending on the injuries, or if there's leaking fluids, we would go and scene safety. So I got informed just a couple days ago that there was an ATV accident at the racetrack, and we were not notified. And took the medics. Their response time to get there, we were not notified. Because it didn't say in our agreement here, so.
So they'll send a new
Yeah,
revised
I
agreement?
asked Dan to send me the new agreement to sign it. And also too, there was an accident on Highway 17 East involving an ambulance and we were not notified. And it was at 17 and Maple Road.
Maybe they were
Yeah.
self.
Well, I spoke to DSAP, not DSAP, sorry, CAC, and Mark, who's my contact. And he goes, I know that call very well. I'm like, well, there were injuries besides the patient that was being transported. There were other injuries and there was leak fluid over the road, but we were not notified. So that's why,
But that's not a requirement under the current agreement?
no,
Okay.
no, that's why this,
It's a type of vehicle or?
it just says because the fire special fuel containment system or. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I said, let's encompass that, all saying that we shall respond to
Oh.
all motor vehicle accidents, not include but limited to. And then I stated snowmobile, ATV, car, truck, bus.
Yeah.
Transport, so that way, any kind of accident, there's an accident, we will get notified, so.
So. But that leads into 1.10, which is the ambulance assistance services, so yes, we will do them, we'll provide those assistance. And police assistance services, so again, speaking to it, so when when you call 911, you get fire, ambulance, or police, so you. Whatever one we get, and then they reach out to us for assistance, and then this just allows that to happen. There's 1.12, which is the public assistance services, so services shall be provided to assist the public with emergency and non-emergency situations for which the fire department has the equipment and specialized skills to mitigate. There is public hazard assistance services, which is the carbon monoxide or a public utility incident. There's vehicle accident services, so the fire department would stabilize the scene of the accident, stabilize vehicles involved, providing aid to injured or trapped persons and mitigating adverse effects of the natural environment. Again, 911 gets called, they get dispatched, we would get that assistance call, and this is what we do. There's the vehicle extraction services. Transportation incidents involving vehicles, trains, and aircrafts. Response shall be provided to the large scale transportation, which may involve large numbers of casualties, so we would definitely respond to that. Highway incident services, again, we would definitely respond, we spoke about that. The hazardous materials response services, again, like in each of these, we're putting, like the competence of responders, shall not be provided at the technical level, again, speaking to those different levels on there. The water and ice rescue services or surface water rescue, so service shall be provided at the operations level, which is at shore-based. With no entry into the Swift water, again, it's as shore-based. So as we've already spoken about, they're all outlined in there. We would assist with urban search and rescue services, the rope rescue services, confined space, trench rescues, fireman silo rescue services, industrial and machinery rescue services, private road services. So services shall be considered limited services, subject to the safe travel and environment conditions. And then there's the community emergency plan response services, that response as per our approved emergency plan for the township. And assistance to the fire marshal services for fire suppression when requested. That might be on a crown land or unorganized.
Hmm.
So for each of the services that we would provide, that's the level that we have to train to. So when our firefighters are taking their training on Monday, this is the level that we're setting out what they have to be trained. B2 is the fire prevention and public education component, so there's fire inspection services in that. So conducting complaint inspections, just requested inspections when they get those. Like for childcare or the schools, and we do the fire drills and stuff there as well, issuing those permits. Then there's public education services, and that's when they can come out to attend the different events or create their own events, and then they just do a lot of public ed. And I think every year there's a focus on what they want to do on that. So fire investigation services, so obviously determining the cause and the origin of the fire. Information, there's B 2.4 is the plans examination services, so it kind of reviewing them and providing comments on subdivision plans, or if we have a large building plan, then the fire chief looks at those plans and kind of gives his risk assessment and what we might have to do to mitigate some things. Consultation services, that's consulting with families and schools, architects, engineers, working with our building department and any other internal departments, interacting with other government agencies and providing input into fire prevention policy development. Sure, we'll come back to that one. Then there's 2.7 with this assistance to the fire marshal services for fire prevention. So if they ask us to do something, we'll do it.
I missed the meeting.
No, this is.
No,
Oh, this is the fire.
Yeah, come on in, Mary, you can come and sit if you want. Have a seat.
Well, I'll sit in the corner
Yeah.
with Jason.
Yeah.
I think
And
Dan
then-
is just coming in.
B.3 is emergency planning, so that's the pre-event. We do that a lot with our fire emergency services. Then there's training and education, so training, and we can add exercise program standards, that's listed in here as well.
I do have a question.
Okay,
Is the intention that all of the volunteer firefighters will be cross-trained for all of the
Yes, sure.
services?
yes,
So everyone at some point in
Yes.
time will be able to carry it out.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Follow-up question.
No, I don't.
Are we able to carry out all 28 services at this point in time?
For the majority, yes, until we get the probationary firefighters up to firefighter 1 and 2 certification. I got 3 years from the date they're hired to get them certified.
So it's more training than equipment.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
I've no more hard questions.
Okay. Okay.
yes, so there's training, then there's maintenance, that's our fleet and equipment maintenance services that our services as well, so maintaining the fleet and the equipment, we kind of spoke to what some of that is right now, and then the facilities maintenance, and that's our buildings and our fire stations. So Schedule C is the conditions of membership for volunteer firefighters. So they need to be at least 18 years of age, be medically fit to perform the duties. As we've outlined in B, they have to be able to do that. There's a requirement for a criminal record check, which this may be new. I don't believe that
You never have. no.
we haven't had that before, so that is new.
This is new.
They have to be able to do their firefighter 1 and 2, pass the oral, the written, and the physical examinations. We've looked at policies about the attendance for training and the attendance for the call out, so that's been incorporated in here as well. There is the probation period of 6 months. And then there's a number of things in there about how to complete that probationary. And then I'll just read this one section, but in consideration of the physical, emotional, and psychological demands associated with performing the essential job tasks of a firefighter, the recognition under the Workplace Safety Insurance Act 1997 is amended that certain cancers and or other illnesses are presumed to be occupational diseases due to the nature of firefighter equipment or employment and the corporation's responsibility to ensure the safety health and wellness of the employees performing fire suppression and emergency response duties. And for those reasons, it goes down to 3.C with the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board. Because we do, the township, we do cover the WSIB for all of the fire department. And under WSIB, they are considered workers. For those purposes, because of the tasks and the duties that they do. For all other purposes, they are considered volunteers and not employees of the township. Just to make that, and again, because of what they do, the township does have responsibilities to make sure that there is the health and safety, that there's the mental checks, and I know that our fire department has a program for that. And then again, the risk, the inherent risk in the tasks that they do. There's sections in here about that medical screening and that, to be a probationary, you have to come in with your medical. And you have to be able to prove that you can actually do these tasks and duties so that we're covering all that insurance piece as well. Remuneration, it is set by the point system policy, which we just went through again, so. And I think that pretty much covers everything that's in the thing. Obviously, there's just no other HR items in there, but it's a standard, so.
So sorry, when was the last time that this was updated?
1995.
And how often should it? go?
You should look at it at least every term of council, one term of council.
So we got it done.
We did
Yeah.
check that box as well.
Yeah.
Previous council.
But we have
Yeah.
been working, we have been working on it for over a year. We didn't have any. There's a lot of stats that really needs to go into what are we doing, what are the services and how should we do this? So we did those through the community risk assessments. That community risk assessment looks at, what is your building makeup, what's your geography, what is your risk, what's your population base and all of that, so that we could really factor into. So the services themselves aren't necessarily changing from the 1995. But it's how we're responding, what we're looking at, how we're managing that risk a little bit differently.
I also think it brings clarity around, people understand who they are and what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I love reports because then there's, no question if people are questioning, you say, oh, let's see what the report says, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's very good.
So now we're on 7B. So request for fire rating sign on Highway 531 and review other strategic locations. So this came up with a social media post that somebody was like, I don't understand why it's not posted on our way into the community. So I brought it forward to this committee, but other council members have also brought it up as well. So we only have the two signs, I think, by both halls, basically, right? Was that correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Oh, and 1 and 2, yeah.
So obviously one coming in on 531 would be beneficial. I don't know if there's other strategic locations that we should consider as well.
Well, I think in all directions we should, when you drive down any major corridor. From town to town, you see what their fire rating is at every step of the way. You actually have to drive into this location to see
Mhm.
what the fire rating is. So I think we maybe want to do some checking and see where the entry points are. I think we need one in the east, we need one in the west, we need one
There
from,
is 6 or 8.
yes, along, like, cause South Shore is an entry into Bonfield too, right? So, and I think it's well traveled, so I think that, the well traveled roads that people are looking for this information.
So do we want to send this to council for an approval? Knowing that you're probably going to come up with some sort of.
What's your recommendation?
And-
Yeah.
I think you should definitely instruct staff to do that report.
Yeah, I think
The
that's
chief to do that report, to
Yeah.
look at our, what the review
Yeah,
is, and
like
we will have
that.
to talk, I know we had this conversation with just the municipal branding signs as well. So, we still have some of that information that we could realize on where best we can put these. Kind of what's the best practice, what's normal, so definitely, and then the chief can bring that report if you'd like to the August 11th council meeting. Yeah.
So we don't need a motion for it at this point.
We could do a motion
To
to,
send it to council.
yeah, to ask the fire chief to have a report for August 11th. We also need a motion if we're happy with the establishment intention.
We need a motion for that. also? Okay. So this one reads, the committee requests that the fire chief prepare a report to council in regards to our fire rating signage at key entry points to the community. Okay, mover and second. So moved by Donna, second by Jason, all in favor?
Monette. Monette. ETTE.
Yep, so that's carried. And then you want me for the installation.
As amended, right?
Yeah. See, you just turn it to
We can accept it as a professional.
So this committee requests that the fire department establishing bylaw be sent to council for review. Mover and second,
I think it's this report as amended.
as in.
Yeah, as we made some changes.
Okay, so moved by Sean, second by Jason. All in favor?
Is it for review and approval?
And yeah.
And so it's yeah, review and yeah,
Fine.
sorry. Just want to be clear.
And then we missed one earlier.
Yeah,
And that's my fault, guys, I jumped around a little bit tonight. So 6A is actually already in our report for us. So that's the Emergency Services Committee receives the fire chief's recommendation to hire Nolan Monette to the rank of probational firefighter for the Bonfield Volunteer Fire Department. So mover in a second. Move by Donald. Second by Jason. All in favor? Great. So no other resolutions to be considered? No correspondence? And
Can I add just under correspondence
just got it in.
that we just today received something from Minister Dunlop about the alert system and those being the media. I'll put it on the council agenda for the next meeting as well. But it's just, if there is a major, there's criteria that it sets out, but the province will now allow municipalities to use the alert system on the phone in an emergency. Right, so.
No closed session. So adjournment. You're moving in a second. Moved by Donovan, second by Shona. That the meeting be adjourned at 6:49 PM. All in favor? Okay, great. Thanks, everybody.